Hello tonight, the changing face of television in the southeast. 1,400 jobs will go. The motor fair on the starting blocks and raring to go, and Kenny Everett raising the roof in the West End after the break.
Just a few of the famous names we've surprised over the years. Who will be the first on the new hit list for This Is Your Life? Find out tonight at 7 on ITV.
Has a child of yours had meningitis? Do you feel that the diagnosis took long? Was your child left with any permanent damage? If your family's had to deal with the effects of meningitis, the Time the Place would like to hear from you. Ring 0898 345 499 now.
If your meals aren't coming out of the microwave quite the way you'd like, you should try Batchelors Microchef. They're meals specially made for the microwave by Batchelors.
Yum, yum. Yum, yum.
It's got my dinner.
Yum, yum.
It's my dinner.
Microwaves just love Microchef from Batchelors.
I ordered breakfast, darling.
Kellogg's cornflakes.
You don't like them?
Oh, I do.
Kellogg's cornflakes, delicious flakes of corn drenched in ice-cold milk.
I really do. Actually, I do.
Don't eat them if you don't want them.
Oh, I want them.
You don't.
I do.
Kellogg's cornflakes. Have you forgotten how good they taste?
He's back for a new series. Tonight at 8 on ITV. Join Des O'Connor for the best in comedy from Jeremy Beadle and Cornwall's hilarious Jethro. There's music from The Commitments and Beverly Craven. And the star of the show, Engelbert Humperdinck. Des O'Connor, tonight, 8 o'clock on ITV.
Hello and good evening. The television franchise battle is over. Tonight, celebrations for some, but recriminations and huge job cuts for others. The losers, Thames Television and TVAM. 1,400 jobs will go.
I feel gutted for all the people that have worked antisocial hours, made themselves sick.
The winners, Carlton TV, Sunrise and LWT.
Stars. Thank you for that's how we won it.
We report on a day of drama and the future of ITV in the capital.
Also in tonight's programme, the London Motor Fair opens its doors. Is it a showcase or a relic of the past? And a touch of West End nonsense from Kenny.
In sport, Michael Watson's doctor tells the sports minister, bring in ringside specialists. And Chris Oaty is dropped by England for Saturday's World Cup quarter-final.
1,400 jobs are to go at Thames Television and TVAM after both companies lost the fight to keep their franchises. Thames has lost out to Carlton Television, which bid £10 million more for the London weekday ITV licence. TVAM, based in Camden, has also lost its breakfast franchise to a higher bidder. But the champagne's been flowing at the South Bank studios of London Weekend Television after the company kept its licence.
Details of ITV's biggest ever shake-up were revealed at the Knightsbridge headquarters of the Independent Television Commission, and it sparked off hectic trading in the city. Tonight on Thames News, we report on the loss of media jobs in the capital and what it all means to you, the viewer. But first, Mike Pearce reports on the winners and the losers in the great franchise battle.
Today's announcement brings to an end months of speculation over which companies will run ITV from 1993. From the losers in London, Thames and TVAM, there was anger and bitterness in condemnation at the way the franchises are awarded.
I feel gutted for all the people that have worked antisocial hours, made themselves sick, working from 2 in the morning right through. I feel extremely angry this morning.
I think everyone feels confused. We don't know what's going to happen to us. We're probably all going to lose our jobs, but we don't know. And I think it's sadness, basically.
For the winners like London Weekend Television, it's been a day of celebration. At Carlton Television, who've won the London Weekday franchise, the champagne is still flowing.
Well, the whole process was a game of poker. It bore no resemblance, I think, to business, and it was a gamble, but we worked out that we didn't think the opposition was very strong and that they wouldn't get through the quality threshold.
Thames has had many fine achievements to its credit over the years, and we were very well aware that in contesting this licence with Thames, we had to demonstrate that we had the capacity to make programmes not only in terms of a very considerable volume of programmes, but also in terms of the diversity of programmes that viewers would expect across the board. And I think our application clearly set out our vision for doing that, our expertise for doing that, and the financial resources that we have available to do that.
The franchises have been awarded to companies who convinced the Independent Television Commission they could provide a high-quality service on a sound financial footing. Once that's been proved, it goes to the highest bidder. The London Weekday franchise, the biggest in the country, was won by Michael Green's Carlton Television. They passed the quality threshold and bid the most, just over £43 million. Thames lost out because they bid £10 million less. A third contender, CPV TV, bid the most but failed on quality. They're threatening court action. Thames insists they didn't bid too low.
We were fully confident as a board of directors, and the board of directors this morning reaffirmed we are confident that we bid the right sum of money to be able to ensure the survival of a wide range of high-quality programs as currently provided by Thames Television, both regionally and network. And we do know that business. We're extremely experienced at it, and my 1,400 staff are very, very good at it.
London Weekend have held onto their franchise. A rival, London Independent Television, bid 4 times as much, but were rejected on grounds of quality. For the breakfast franchise, 3 companies in the running all passed on quality. The winner, Sunrise Television, bid the most, over £34 million. Daybreak bid slightly less. TVAM lost out because they bid just over £14 million.
The £14 million bid was a proper and sensible bid given the exigencies of the business. I do not believe that Sunrise will be a profitable company. I predict that Sunrise will be bankrupt in 1994.
The important thing is to appeal to the audience that already exists for breakfast television, and that is desperately important to us. So although we're going to be different, we're certainly not going to alienate the viewers who are already keen on breakfast television.
Thames started broadcasting 23 years ago and is currently ITV's biggest contractor. The company intends to continue as an independent producer, making its most popular programmes like Minder and The Bill, which it will then sell.
All those programs currently enjoyed by viewers are clearly at risk. It will be our job, however, and we've made it perfectly clear this morning, we intend to continue as a powerful and successful independent production company which would sell those titles and new productions and repeats from our extensive library to other broadcasters.
It all means in January 1993 we'll see the biggest shake-up in British television for 25 years. This is Mike Pearce for Thames News.
From early this morning, staff at London's 2 losing television companies faced the cameras themselves. There'd been constant speculation in the media and in the city that Thames and TVAM would lose their franchises. Job losses at both companies had been widely anticipated. Today, the pundits were proved right.
I don't know where any of us go from here. I'm very, very disappointed.
I think that this new system has let us down very badly, all the ITV companies.
TVAM have vowed to continue broadcasting, but it's thought that 400 jobs are in jeopardy. At Thames Television, management swiftly convened a meeting of staff. As an independent production company, Thames will compete with a much reduced workforce. In a statement today, company chairman Lord Brabourne said the news was a tragedy for 1,000 people at Thames Television who will now lose their jobs. The company has yet to specify which jobs will go, but it's thought the cuts will be staggered.
We will be seeking redeployment where possible. We'll also be seeking re-employment if Thames is to transfer to the largest independent television production house.
The Broadcasting Act of 1990 was the single most destructive piece of legislation in the history of broadcasting. It will result, we fear, in a number of job losses, 2,000 plus around the whole of the UK, and London is particularly hard hit.
Further details of the redundancies at Thames will be announced in the coming weeks. The company will continue on air until the end of 1992. After that, a reduced staff of 400 will make and sell the company's most popular network programmes elsewhere. The stock market wasn't surprised by today's announcement, but it has had a marked effect on TV share trading.
Yeah, hold on please, just got the official announcement here.
Thames was fairly stable, having leapt up, it then came down again. And TVAM came down about 20%.
But the market most strained tonight is the jobs market. With TVAM off air in '93, Thames substantially slimmed down, and recent redundancies at ITN and BSB, London's media market will be flooded. Jonathan Ray for Thames News.
Earlier, I asked the Financial Times media correspondent, Raymond Snoddy, if the auction system was a fair way of allocating franchises.
It's a very strange system. It's a very strange system in which the largest producer of programs, of quality programs, can go down like this. However, I think in the medium term it will be seen that this was perhaps overall a fairer system than at least we expected when this first process began, the shoving of money in brown envelopes.
Now, Thames were beaten by £10 million, TVAM by £20 million. Will the high bidders be able to maintain quality, especially for viewers?
There's absolutely no guarantee that they will. However, the bids aren't quite as bad as they appear, and they're tax deductible, for instance, and they will be cutting costs. These people are coming at the business from a different cost structure, perhaps, than Thames, that has had a large staff, its own studios over many years.
So the viewers should be encouraged?
All is not lost, but truly we will have to wait till the 1st of January 1993 to see whether those quality programmes are still there.
Would you like to make another prediction? How do you see television, let's say, 5 years from today?
I've no doubt whatsoever that there will be more choice for the viewer in 5 years, that cable and satellite will make increasing inroads, that more and more people will take as normal the notion of having 30 channels of television in their home, paying a bit more for it. And I think that ITV, after an initial bumpy period for a couple of years, will regroup, will be more competitive, and will be one of the major players in British broadcasting throughout the rest of this century.
Mr. Snoddy, thank you.
Now, the rest of the day's news. The controversy over the National Health Service continued today as the government announced that 24 hospitals in the southeast are to become self-governing trusts. But there was disappointing news for 4 of London's famous teaching hospitals. Their applications were approved, but the start date was delayed while health services in the capital are reviewed. Tonight, Labour accused the government of peddling discredited policies on borrowed time.
Barnet Hospital in North London is part of the Wellhouse Trust, one of the 24 health units across the region given permission to join the second wave of self-governing trusts. The hospital serves 300,000 people and performs 18,000 operations a year. Its directors say they're confident they can avoid the financial difficulties experienced by other trusts like Guy's. They plan a £90 million rebuilding programme.
As a trust, we can offer patients the services we offer them now, but bring developments more quickly online and continue to provide a high-quality level of care to our patients.
But Health Secretary William Waldegrave had disappointing, if not unexpected, news for the 4 London teaching hospitals hoping to opt out of local health authority control next year. Trust status has been approved for St Mary's, St Bartholomew's and St Thomas's in central London and King's College at Camberwell. But its implementation has been delayed for a year until an inquiry into health services in the capital is complete. Scenes like this at King's College last winter helped prompt the inquiry, which could lead to the closure of some of London's hospitals.
It means that we'll have a little less flexibility than we thought we would have. And that means that we could find ourselves facing greater competition in London during that intervening year.
The 4 hospitals have been given permission to operate a devolved management structure until the outcome of the London inquiry.
It will be rather more devolved management, and I hope that those who've worked with those hospitals to work up the trust applications will remain with them through the intervening period.
Labour accused the government of peddling discredited health policies on borrowed time. Mr Waldegrave insists the trusts are working, but today's announcement does little to lift the uncertainty over the future of London's teaching hospitals. Jane Ball, Thames News.
Tube managers are planning to axe more jobs as their financial crisis deepens. A leaked document reveals that 35 jobs on the Northern Line are to go, with cleaning and staff training bearing the brunt. The document also says that the Northern Line City branch could be cut in half because London Underground can't afford to repair tunnels at Old Street. It says that if money can't be found, the line would close between Moorgate and Angel.
2 top car makers are snubbing this year's Earls Court Motor Fair. The decision by Rover and BMW to stay away has thrown doubt on the traditional concept of motor shows. There are still plenty of new luxury cars on show, but as Rob McBride reports, the recession has certainly put the brakes on the motor trade as never before.
Recession or not, this year's London Motor Fair has attracted most of the big car manufacturers. They haven't had it so bad for 10 years, but despite that, Volkswagen chose the show to launch their new Golf, while Peugeot are introducing their new 106 to the British public for the first time.
Nobody's pretending it's easy. You know, we're going through a very, very difficult time. But if they're going to buy a new car and their times are tight and they're worried about running costs, then we believe this is the kind of car they'll be looking for.
More Upmarket and Lotus are trying out revolutionary designs to see how the public take to them. It's all the stuff that motor shows are made of, and this year the organisers say it's bigger and better than ever, with the exhibitors spilling over into Earls Court's new second hall.
If you talk to people, the manufacturers, they can see the stirrings of the market. And I think now they're using this show as a platform to build their marketing efforts for the new year.
But notable absentees from this year's show include Rover and BMW. It's led to claims that some manufacturers are becoming increasingly disillusioned with a traditional motor show.
I think the public just wants a bit more. The fleet buyers, those who go out and buy cars on behalf of company car users, don't just go to shows like this and look. The people who are spending the money and writing the checks actually look at the cars and drive them too. The public will want to do that eventually.
But one car very few of the public will ever be able to own is this Bentley Continental making its UK debut. To get behind the wheel and drive it away, you'll need to have £175,000. Rob McBride at Motor Fair 91 for Thames News.
Sir Hugh Rossi, the Conservative MP for Hornsey and Wood Green, has announced that he's to retire from the Commons at the next election. Sir Hugh, who's 64, has been an MP for 26 years. In a letter to his constituency party, he says it's time for a new generation.
Pint-sized comedian Ronnie Corbett has presented a giant-sized cheque to King's College Hospital for life-saving treatment for children. The £500,000 donation from the Variety Club will go towards building a new intensive care unit, which is due to open next year.
The £500,000 cheque was taller than Ronnie Corbett, but that didn't matter. It showed the big heart that the Variety Club has. It's raised £500,000 for a new intensive care unit here at King's College Hospital, all from the club's special Gold Heart Day back in February.
It is wonderful that you look after the young at this time in their lives when they really are helpless and need all the care they can, and all the people who are so desperately skilled in this country at looking after children at these tender ages should have our support.
This is an idea of what the new centre will look like. Children like 14-year-old Natasha Allen from Watford will benefit. She's hoping to have a liver transplant soon.
I've got to just wait until I get my transplant done and those sort of infections out and stuff.
But you're looking forward obviously to the transplant?
Yeah. I'm frightened in one way but not in another.
Others, like 5-year-old Susie, have already been given a new lease of life. She had her operation just 5 weeks ago.
Before she got the transplant, she just was scratching all the time and she was really quite bad. Her life was a misery.
and she wouldn't sleep at nights or nothing. So it's been brilliant to see her being normal. She's lively.
Meanwhile, 8-month-old twin Rosie from Hampshire on the right is set to undergo her 5th operation for internal bleeding. She's being assessed for a transplant now.
What we like to do is to have the most ill children in hospital in an intensive care area, and wherever possible the other children being nursed and looked after at home.
Work on the new intensive care unit is set to begin in January. Githa Hutton, Thames News.
Kenny Everett is preparing for his West End debut in a new musical based on a Lewis Carroll nonsense poem. His role in The Hunting of the Snark marks quite a departure for the radio DJ and television comedian, more used to turntables than tap shoes. Catherine Bayfield saw him limbering up.
Zany disc jockey and personality Kenny Everett being put through his paces for the new musical The Hunting of the Snark. Kenny's learnt to tap dance for his starring role, but his initial response when the producer asked him to make his West End debut.
I said no, as the sight of 2,000 pairs of eyes across the footlights would terrify me out of my mind. And he said, oh, well, I've thought of a way out of that. Before you come on, I'll go on stage and say, Kenny's terribly shy. Would you all please leave? And they could all have a drink while I do my number.
You're very shy then?
I'm terribly shy. I'm so shy.
The £2 million musical adventure is an adaptation of Lewis Carroll's epic nonsense poem, but not even director Mike Batt, creator of the Womble songs, knows what a snark is.
It's a kind of crazy musical adventure, and it really is a mystery as to what the snark is, and you're invited to, find out for yourself, really.
The snarks are quite hard to find, and I really think I must be paid.
The barrister is played by Alan Love, who turned his back on showbiz 5 years ago after starring in Godspell and Tommy. He's now a millionaire with a chain of restaurants in the West End.
And it was just one of those situations where I was very flattered that he asked me to do it, because I know he'd had many great singers doing this role. And it was nice to be asked. And I'd never imagined that I was going to come back onto the stage again. It was something that was way beyond my wildest dreams.
The show opens at the Prince Edward Theatre on October the 24th. Catherine Bayfield for Thames News.
On now to sport, and Michael Watson's surgeon says he's encouraged following his meeting with boxing officials. Here's Graham Miller.
Yes, neurosurgeon Peter Hamlin, who's fighting to save Michael Watson's life at St Bartholomew's Hospital, put his case for specialists to be at ringside this afternoon. He made his point to the British Boxing Board of Control and the Sports Minister Robert Atkins at a special meeting in London. Dr Hamlin believes immediate specialist attention could well have improved Michael Watson's chances of a full recovery.
Doctors and officials from the boxing world converged on the Sports Minister's Waterloo office this afternoon. They were there to discuss whether Michael Watson would be in a coma today had there been better medical facilities available at ringside, and whether improvements can now be made.
I'm not going into any medical details, but of course we've been looking at safety and quick reaction at tournaments when boxers are injured. That's what we've been looking at, and as I say, it was an extremely helpful and constructive meeting. And I'm sure out of that will come recommendations to the board to look at the regulations of the board.
Sports Minister Robert Atkins made no comment after today's meeting, so it's now up to the Boxing Board of Control to decide whether any improvements can be made. Until they are, boxers will continue to go into the ring knowing their chances of surviving a head injury are no better than Michael Watson's. This is Graham Machen outside the Sports Minister's office for Thames News.
Chris Oaty has been dropped by England for the World Cup quarter-final against France in Paris on Saturday. The Wasps winger, who missed the last 2 domestic seasons through injury, has disappointed the England manager Jeff Cook in his performances so far. Nigel Heslop replaces him. And Mickey Skinner of Harlequins will play at blindside flanker in a forward shake-up, Mike T coming in at number 8 in place of Dean Richards. Some football scores: Republic of Ireland are drawing 3-3, Scotland are down.
It'll be cloudy for much of the evening with some rain and drizzle from time to time. It should become drier and clearer later. The low 6 degrees Celsius, 43 Fahrenheit. Tomorrow, strong winds and gusts of up to 60 miles an hour. There will be frequent blustery showers too, and some of those will be heavy. It will feel very cold, the high around 12 degrees Celsius, that's 54 Fahrenheit.
And the main story tonight, 4 of the existing ITV companies, Thames, TVS, TSW and TVAM, have failed to win new franchises. They'll stop broadcasting at the end of next year. Thames was outbid by Carlton Television for the London weekday franchise. TVAM was outbid by Sunrise, a consortium including LWT. TVS, which was said to have bid too high, lost to Meridian Broadcasting. TSW, also a high bidder, lost to West Country Television, a consortium headed by John Banham of the CBI. 3 of the unsuccessful applicants are talking about challenging the Independent Television Commission's decisions in the courts. The ITC chairman, George Russell, said he couldn't see franchises being awarded in this way again. And that's about it, but Robin Houston will be back right after news at 10 with our late night news. And we'll be back again tomorrow because despite our own television drama, it's business as usual. From all of us on the news team, good night.